But what happened next, and that's what I'm never gonna forget in my life.
Most of the leaders, they do not become leaders because they were trained to be leaders.
There you are.
Hi,
Hello.
hello, good evening.
Hey. So very warm welcome. I'm Eric. I'm a life coach and a hypnotherapist. And my goal and mission and purpose in life is to help as many people as possible to find abundance and love to themselves and find their happy, abundant life. And my guest today is Anna from Poland. She's a psychologist and also, like myself, an RTT therapist. Please, Anna, a very warm welcome. Introduce yourself, and we're going to speak today about vulnerability and leadership.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Anna. I come from Poland. I've been living in Poland all my life. And yeah, my mission in life is to help as many women, mostly women, but not only, to live a life that's theirs, that's on their own terms, in which they feel complete and true and authentic. And I specifically focus on leaders, on female leaders, hence the topic of our conversation.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So, and you have graduated from RTT, from the RTT school also, about 1 year ago. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. It's going to be a year in April, quite soon. What an incredible year it was. And the year before that, prior to that, when we were all training and learning. But yes, this is the method that totally changed everything for me. It was the first method I felt, yes, this is the tool that I want to use, and I believe this is the one that's going to make a difference. Not because I've tested it on myself, so I'm sure you share my experience.
Yes, absolutely. And for those who don't know, RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy, which was invented by Marissa Peer. And if you don't know what it is and want to know more, just watch my interview with her. I will share the link in the description, or you can find it on my YouTube channel. So it is incredible indeed, this method, and how the elegancy of the method, in my opinion, is that really it is rapid. And I would really like to ask you, as you are a psychologist, how would you describe, is this method different from what you've learned in your career and what you've applied? How is it different, and how can you really see a difference, and can you really now help people better and faster?
To be honest, now when I think about it, when I think about all the curriculum that I studied and all of the knowledge, science, all of the tools that I was trained with, it all makes sense now. But the way our method, rapid transformational therapy, just puts it all together to create a way of getting to the root cause of the problem, getting rid of the root cause of the problem, and then transform the beliefs, the thinkings, rewiring the brain. This is something absolutely magical. Like most psychologists, I am not a psychotherapist. I haven't trained in psychotherapy. And the reason I haven't trained in that was precisely because I never saw myself seeing the same client for years. We were taught that any change requires tremendous effort, that it not only takes time but a lot of money as well, and also that the effect is not promised.
Yeah.
And so this is something that always felt not entirely right. Right after I graduated, I actually turned towards counseling and coaching because I always knew that I wanted to work on people's resources, not on their problems, deficits, any sort
And
of
traumas.
lack. I mean, of
Mm-hmm.
course, traumas this is something that has to be healed in order to access the resources. But the way a lot of schools of psychotherapy views a person is through the lens of lack or of some sort of a problem. And I always wanted to focus on the possibility, on the
Mm-hmm.
on anything that a person can actually do. So coming across Marisa Peer and the way she presents our role and our mission as therapists was absolutely amazing for me, and I thought, yes, this is what I want to do.
This really is so good, and it's so similar to how I perceive it, because what I learned before RTT was life coaching, and in life coaching we also absolutely concentrate on the resources of people and on their future. Basically, it's future oriented, isn't it? So we do work with the past a little bit. We kind of change the view, the perception of the past, and what we also do is we make that past not affect us anymore. But with RTT, that is actually therapy, really. That really changes what happened in the sense of what our brain makes of what has happened. Very interesting. And how does that affect your clients who are leaders, basically?
Well, to be honest, most of the people who work hard, who have a lot of things going on professionally in their careers, they don't really have time to engage in a process that's going to take ages and that's going to require of them to be present, every week at a specific time, etc., etc. So to be honest, the idea of being able to have one session or 3 sessions or a program that's designed in a way that that doesn't take a year or something like that, or more years, this is absolutely perfect. And also what I've noticed, and I don't know if you share the same experience, is that many people fear still, even though it's 2022 and we have come a long way, but still it's kind of a problem for some people to actually go and seek help from a psychologist, from a therapist, right?
This is exactly what I wanted to speak today about. Yeah, but sorry, finish your sentence, please.
Yeah, so especially if you're a leader and if you need to maintain this facade, this face that, you're a strong person, you can do everything, then, sometimes it doesn't correlate with the image. And so, rapid transformational therapy sounds like something for these kind of people as well, and they're so often surprised how deep it goes because they were not expecting that.
So true. And that's exactly the experience I have with my clients when they kind of, well, their first objection, but also the biggest hope is I don't really believe in quick fixes. That's the objection. But the hope at the same time is it has to go fast. I want to have results fast because I don't have time, right? I don't have time for therapy.
Exactly.
So very, very interesting, especially also the vulnerability part, that people kind of don't expect that it goes deep and that they will kind of have to, in a sense, open up And interestingly, I just had a client who, if I may share just a short story,
Yes, please.
I just had a client who was very, like, kind of not close, but like kind of he didn't share many emotions, let's say. Like on the outside, he was kind of like had this really strong appearance. And it was very unexpected for him that it would be difficult. And at the end, he was like, it was so hard. It was so, the scenes he had, he didn't expect them to come up, and he didn't expect them to be so emotionally charged. And as a person who is not used to showing emotions and because that is vulnerability for him, and he what he found out in the session was that the reason why he didn't want to show emotions was because he thought that that is weakness. Showing emotions is a weakness. And that is a very big misconception of vulnerability, isn't it? Because the vulnerability actually is courage and not weakness.
Absolutely. But yeah, we still live in the story that it's not strong to present any sort of emotional side, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
What I
Do you
also
actually
noticed, sorry, because
Yes.
I just thought about what I also noticed, that for the people who think it's not cool to show the emotional side, it's also very difficult to talk about emotions. Even when they feel them, it's very difficult to find the right words to express them in the right way, because you know they just never used that in their lives. So this is also quite challenging.
Exactly. They're just not used to speaking about this.
Yes.
They don't even, it's not even familiar for them to really experience them. And if they do, they kind of suppress them. That is quite a common thing, isn't it? Yes. And do you find that it's, the people who have high positions, leaders, that they kind of find it difficult to agree that they need to go and see a therapist? Like, do they think that that is a weakness, and they would maybe try to hide it, and maybe also not do it and not go to a therapist until it's like really, really difficult and they really see that they need help?
I think what's easier is to have a very concrete issue to solve, or a problem to fix. Like, for example, I believe, and this is my personal experience, that it's easier to go and seek help for, let's say, insomnia or problems with sleeping, than to admit, well, I'm actually having a bit of a problem with who I am at this moment of my life, and what I want my life to look like in the future. So you know, they come to fix the insomnia problem, but of course in the course of work it turns out that you know, maybe there's something deeper beneath that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that in RTT, the presenting problem never is the issue, right?
Exactly. So yeah, I believe there are as many problems, presenting problems, as people, but of course I think we still have to work hard on making it accessible to people, in a sense, to be able for a lot of people to understand, yes, this is something I could use. This is something that can actually help me, bring me clarity, bring me relief, and change the way I perceive myself and the world, which is a great.
Yeah, so basically, would you say that there are specific topics, which is like insomnia, which is really kind of easier to talk about, and gives it a better possibility to access people who are leaders, and show them that RTT will help. So what would be those topics? Insomnia, burnout, I believe, maybe
Burnout, yes.
work-life balance.
Yes, absolutely. Stress,
Mm-hmm.
management of stress.
Yeah.
And
Conflicts, maybe.
yes, absolutely. And also the thing that comes up for ladies, for females mostly, is imposter syndrome. And
Right.
yeah, those types of issues related to confidence, to showing up, to being able to promote yourself, all the things related to getting recognition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Also, that if women decide to have higher positions, they definitely have to battle the man's world, where the man kind of feel that's their place, right? So how does that show in if we look at it from the vulnerability perception? What is it that women have to do? So here they have to be strong, right? So the opposite of vulnerable. What's your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the reasons why I decided, me personally, why I decided to work with this specific type of issues is my own story, because I've always felt in the work type environments, because I've been working within different types of institutions all my professional lives, and I have always felt that there's something fundamentally not mine about the way those institutions are created, that they're demanding the sorts of behaviors and the sorts of attitudes that I am personally not used to. And well, let's face it, I really don't like to pretend too much. I really like to be open and express my emotions. And these are totally the things that are not really welcome in those types of environments. And I know how much it has affected me throughout my life. And I know the more I tried to fit in this model, which to be honest is based on the masculine, let's say, traits and of character, the more I tried to fit in, the more unhappy I was. And I thought, I don't belong, I shouldn't be here, I'm a fraud, because I have to pretend to be here, and other people all have it naturally, and and it takes so much of my energy to pretend to be somebody else to be here. And I know, because I work with women, that there's so many of them who feel the same, that they have to tame their uniqueness, their personalities, to be able to fit in, which in most cases, just like with me, is their own perception. It's not the reality of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I wanted to say that probably everyone feels the same kind of, that I am a fraud, the imposter syndrome, right? So, and everybody thinks, well, they got it naturally. And while the other one sitting opposite you thinks exactly the same about you, because you are actually sitting there not showing your emotions, and they thinking, yeah, she's got it. She's got it all together, right?
Exactly, and it self-perpetuates, and everybody is unhappy. So, the only way, in my opinion, is to break this and to say, well, the hell with this. I am who I am, and I show up the way I am. And it's actually great that I am able to come and be myself wherever I work. Of course, I do understand the culture and the values and all sorts of things, and I do not behave inappropriately, but still I can be myself, and I don't have to wear the tight suit
But that's exactly the authenticity, right? And as we learned from RTT, is basically that it all comes down to I'm not enough, right? To basically, right? To the three things: I'm not enough, or I'm different, or I can't have what I want, right? So, and here, if we look at those three things with women or men in leadership, they probably have that one or all three of them at some point, at some level, right?
That's
And
exactly that. And so, people come because I need to be a little bit more confident. I have to make a speech. I have to do the presentation. I want to, just show up more confidently. And then we work together, and it all goes down to this one moment in childhood when they were 3 years old, for example, and somebody laughed during the school play, for example, which they don't even remember, but this has kept them for their entire life, telling them, no, 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 you cannot show yourself, expose yourself, because there's going to be a problem. So
yeah, exactly. So something happened in their childhood, and they thought they built an imprint, right? That they now are somehow not good enough.
yeah,
They're not performing enough, and that's going to stay like that for the rest of their life. So what we're doing in RTT is we're basically turning that around. We're giving our client their resources back, right? Their
yes,
power back,
exactly.
and giving them basically this understanding that they are not that child anymore. They're an adult now, and that's in the past. It's all gone, right?
Well, yeah, this moment when and I know it happened for you, and it happened for me, and it happens for our clients, this moment when they realize that they've been living within this gap between who they are now as adults and who they think they are, which is not a reality. And the way we actually level this up together during the session, when they get out of our either Zoom or our office with this feeling, wow, I am finally there, the way I should have always been, but I just couldn't. So this is the amazing thing.
Exactly, and I find it so amazing that really unconsciously that child, like let's say the child who was performing when they were three or whatever, maybe at school, that child, this misunderstood child, still lives in them.
Yes.
And it's like as if people think it's just not possible to change that past. And that's why I'm carrying it through my whole life. And I'm still that kid when I'm standing here on a podium in front of 1,000 people or 200 people who are like all very important people. And they all have to have a good opinion about me. But I'm that 3-year-old kid. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. And once we work with our clients, they get to understand that, and understanding is power.
Why do you think this works with RTT and it takes so much time in psychotherapy?
Well, because well, what do? We bypass the conscious mind, and we go we go deeper. We go to the unconscious mind, where everything is being kept, is being recorded, is being stored, and it influences everything in our lives, but we just don't realize it. And so, as we both know, on a conscious level, we can understand everything. And I know personally, I know people, and I have also been going to talk therapy for years myself. So I value this type of therapy as well, because it has given me enormous clarity, enormous insight, enormous knowledge about where I came from, what happened to me, what types of issues I was dealing with. But that was it. I just
Mm.
gained the knowledge about it, but it's not enough to
Yeah.
actually be able to get out of it. And
Yeah.
and say, well, okay, this is where I came from. Awesome. I am here now, and I want to go somewhere else. So this is the thing that was missing.
Exactly. And in order to be able to go somewhere else, you have to become someone else.
Exactly.
And that's what happens. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Um, I've just made a note for myself that I think what I want to ask you is, do you find that people who are in higher positions, that they feel ashamed to go to a psychotherapist, and like afraid, in a sense of really ashamed, like, I am a leader, I must be strong, I can't actually be the person who needs help.
Um, yeah, I do believe, especially, I think it's changing. It's slowly changing nowadays. But to be honest, most of the leaders, they do not become leaders because they were trained to be leaders. Of course,
uh,
of course, there are programs, there are trainings, there are MBAs, studies, all sorts of things, but most of them are focused on very technical issues, on management, on well, managing resources, on managing conflict, on all sorts of things related also to working with other people and leading them. But there's not enough focus placed, in my opinion, on self-leadership. And self-leadership is actually the basis of any sort of leadership in life. This is not, well, this is something that we all need as human beings, every single person, regardless of the fact if they're leaders or not. uh, but I think this is the piece that's missing for so many leaders, people in power, people who manage other people. They just don't have that skill to be able to start with themselves. And as you know,
mhm.
it all starts with us.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because I come also from the corporate world, because I've studied engineering in the first place. And so I saw it, I saw it every day, basically, with my own eyes, like how people can grow, how they can become, for example, a team manager, then they become like bigger, get a bigger position, then they have more people to manage, but they don't really learn it. And sometimes, as you say, they might go to a course to learn about management, or to learn about conflict management, or whatever other, like, people leading skills they need. But there is actually, there is no classes on self leadership.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
But that's very interesting. Can I ask you, because you said you
Sure.
studied engineering, so this is the road that you took, and then you
Yeah.
totally changed to
Yeah.
something different. And so I do believe that also for leaders, for many professional people, at some point in their lives, they realize that maybe they just didn't, start right, that maybe what they're doing is not what's their true purpose is, or their heart desire is. It doesn't make them sing. And so this is also another very difficult part of the job that I try to do with leaders, because sometimes they feel like, I love what I do, I love doing this, but I feel like there's something more. So how was it for you when you decided to change?
Oh my God. I mean, this was never my thing. The thing I had to decide between psychology or psychotherapy and engineering, which were like worlds apart from each other. And the reason why I had to decide between them was I knew from the age of 11 that psychology is something I am very interested in, because we had a psychologist come to our school, to our class, and tell us about psychology. She told us what it is, and she showed us some wonderful things, some tricks, in my opinion, because it was like she just showed us how people function, how the brain functions in a very easy and understandable way for children who were like 10 or 11 years old. So I was fascinated, and I was like, oh my God, this is something I want. There's something I want to learn. There's something I want to understand. I really want to know what people think, and I want to know how to think in a way that everything is wonderful. So this is what I understood back then. And however, I mean, I'm originally from Russia. That was back in Russia. And then we moved with my family to Germany, where I am now. And I saw that when I finished school, that it was very, very, very difficult to get to a psychotherapy university or to faculty. And I would have to wait for about 9 years, I think, in order to be able to start. Because they have like the highest score in Germany it's 1.0. You have to have 1.1 at least in order to be taken. And I had 2.6 or something, which is a good, it's okay. It goes down until 4. I mean, it goes down until 6, but you wouldn't be able to graduate if you have something lower than 4. So I was somewhere in the middle, right? And then, well, my both parents are engineers, so I kind of thought this is the thing I will be able to do. I have it in my blood, basically, and I am. And I was, and I had a great career. I'm now working still a little, like part-time in the medical industry and with the implants. But this never was my heart's desire. And although I learned it and I understood things and I know how to learn, this is what I learned also, to learn how to learn, right? But then, I mean, the only reason I went to medical was that I wanted to be as close as possible to humans, to people. I wanted to have something, to put something into the world which will actually help people. But yeah, then I had to kind of, when I learned about life coaching, I was like, okay, this is something which is attainable, and I don't have to study for 5, 6, or 7 years in order to get a degree, and then I would have to study other or work for someone else for another 2 or 3 years until I could open my own business and then look for clients. So yeah, that was a long answer. Sorry.
Well, yeah, but you know that's exactly my point. That you know, for so many people, what they do, what they started, where they are, doesn't feel like the place where they should be, and they feel like, you know, there's something, there must be something else out there. But it's so difficult to make this decision. It's so especially, you know, if you have reached some sort of a position, right? And you've worked so hard for this, and then well, what do you do, right?
Gosh, it really sounded like a crazy idea when I had that idea for the first time. I had a book which was called like Life Coaching, and I was actually even scared to show this book to my closest friend, to even my closest friend.
Right? Because what would they say?
I thought they would say like, you crazy, like you have studied for like to becoming an engineer, and then you have worked and you've reached so much, you came so far, and now you want to do what? You want to tell people how to live, like life coaching. What is life coaching anyway?
Well,
right?
That's another thing, right?
Exactly. And then the next step, to go into hypnotherapy, same thing, like sounded quite crazy in the beginning, and I also was kind of scared to say, to tell my friends, to tell my parents also, because for some reason, well, I really value their opinion. So yeah, it was crazy. But now I'm really happy. This was the best decision.
Yeah, yeah, because once you understand and once you realize that you do something that makes you so happy, that makes you want to do it, regardless of how much effort you need to put in that,
Oh
you're
yeah.
right. Well, yeah, this is something that you wouldn't change or replace for anything.
Absolutely. And then, hi, Lelia. Lelia is writing, it's following your soul's purpose. I love that you took that lead, loving your life. Exactly. So this is like, it never felt like the right thing to do for me before, like to live the life I was living before, and also to work as an engineer in my case. Right. And now, like, it never felt right. And I always felt like there must be something more. And I would know when it's there. And
Yes.
now I really do. Like, now I really feel it. Like, with every client I have, it's just like I'm in flow. I just feel it. And being in flow is something I've learned
Amazing,
about it.
right?
I
Yeah,
read about it,
yeah.
but now I'm feeling it. Like, it's like when you don't know what time it is, you don't know if you're hungry or not, you're not thirsty, you don't have anything which connects you to the body, right? It's just the mind is happy, and
It's
it's just it's,
yeah.
it's it's spiritual in a way, right?
It is. So I have to share this with you because the first time I ever, honestly, I've worked for over, I don't know how many years I have worked with people, but the first time ever I experienced flow was
Hmm.
during one of the trainings for our RTT degree certificate. And it was a Zoom live training. We were learning to put other people into hypnosis. And the
Hmm.
first time I did that, and of course, you know how it works. We were reading the script. We didn't know it by heart. It was, like brand new. We were so scared. We had no idea if it was going to work. What if they don't, get hypnotized? What's going to happen? And of course, we had an internet crash at my place. So, oh my God, it was just so confusing. And then I started reading the script for the first time ever in my life. And I saw that the guy was actually getting hypnotized. And I kept reading the script. And at some point, I felt, and I will never forget this feeling, even though I felt that many times since. But that was this moment. I felt like, oh my God, those words, they're speaking themselves, they're coming through me. I'm not doing this thing. This is absolutely amazing. And that's the flow.
Mm, absolutely. And that reminds me of my first experience with the life training. After I was on the life training in Berlin, where really it was in the same room,
Oh
not via
yeah,
Zoom,
yeah.
right? That was one experience. But when I was back home and I did a master class, so it was a online training uh, to also bring somebody into deep hypnosis, and I had to do a deepener. So
Yeah.
right, it was probably the same masterclass, right? So the same kind of learning experience. So, and there was a woman on the other side for whom it was completely the first time. For me, it wasn't, because I was in Berlin,
Yeah.
but for her, it was the first time. And I was like, oh my God, people for whom it's the first time, they're normally kind of tense, and they're
Yeah.
kind of, they're not they're not really going along. Maybe they're overthinking and everything. And I did the magnets. So for those who don't know, it's when people have to put up their hands like this and pretend or imagine they have two powerful magnets in their hands, and then you feel how those magnets draw their hands together. And then what happens next? I told her before, then the second your hands or fingers touch, your arms will drop into your lap and you will go much, much deeper. And that's what the script says. And I said those words, and then I said then the words, now your hands are being pulled together. She did that, and you never know, are they really doing it with their brain, or are these the hands or the arms actually? But what happened next, and that's what I'm never gonna forget in my life, was that that moment her fingers touched, her arms really dropped into her lap, and then her head also dropped like that. And that is something we didn't talk about before, right? I didn't tell her, you have to do this, right?
Yes.
That's something I saw only on YouTube, on videos when people get hypnotized. And I always was kind of sort of skeptical about all of that. And that moment I was like, okay, I'm carrying on. This is the script we're going on. And then later when she went out of hypnosis, I asked her, like, tell me, how did that feel? Did you really go deeper? And she was like, I was so surprised. I really went deeper. It felt like I was like diving somewhere. And that was the moment for me, when I felt the power of this hypnosis.
Yeah, this is something that's absolutely mind-blowing. And yeah, as you said, we forget about, whether we're thirsty or not, we're when we're in the moment with a client, this is like an amazing journey that we
Absolutely. And I never experienced anything like that in my current job, in my current career, because that's just completely different. It's just not my thing, right? And there are people who work with me and in my previous positions work with me. When I saw that I see them, they are happy, like they are doing what they want to do.
Exactly.
Like, it's not about the position, it's not about the job, it's not about the profession, like, right? It's following your heart's desire, following your soul's desire. Yeah. So, and were there anything else? I'm just checking my list. Yeah, interestingly, I have another thing I wanted to talk to you about. I wrote down, and I have it from the book of Brené Brown, who you probably know, because she wrote about vulnerability, right? She wrote something like the opposite of scarcity is wholeheartedness, right? Opposite of scarcity is wholeheartedness. And it's also not being afraid to be vulnerable. That's also opposite of scarcity. It may feel wrong, or I know I may be wrong. I may do a mistake or feel like I had like failed at something.
Yeah.
But I'm still always worthy of my own love and of love of other people. But actually, the most important thing is I'm worthy of my own love. And that puts me into a position that whatever happens, I'm okay and they are okay. And that, for me, that's like a huge leap, like that understanding. So there is nothing I can do which would bring me out of that position of being worthy and enough. So I can be vulnerable as much as I want. I'm always enough because I'm okay and they are okay. And even if they laugh, they are still okay.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think to be honest, the way RTT has influenced my life, the deepest way was the understanding of the fact that as human beings, as members of the human race, just because we are here, we were born, we came here, we belong, and we are exactly as we are supposed to be. Of course, we can improve, we can learn, we can experience, we can try, we can do many things, but everything we do, the way we do, is absolutely okay. And this understanding, but of course it's not, you know, an intellectual understanding. This is something that's, you know, once you feel it like within yourself, deep inside, then, you know, the word changes. But that was the biggest realizations for me, that, to be honest, that has helped me to, you know, start my own business, start doing the RTT, you know, as my second job. And yeah, this is exactly when the game starts, right?
Exactly. So you know that you are okay.
Yeah.
And so you can start your business, you can be a leader, you can be vulnerable, you can make mistakes. It's all okay.
It's all okay. You can actually have it all, you know, and having it all doesn't mean exactly what everybody thinks, you know. So having it all is the ability, as you said, to put your entire heart into everything that you do, right? And that's just it.
Oh my God, this is really amazing. Yeah.
But to be honest, yeah, this is something in you know, institutional context or in corporate context. This is yeah, this is a quite challenging concept still, because, you know, everybody expects you to, even if you say something stupid, if you do the dumbest thing you can ever do, you have to, you know, fake and pretend that that was the smartest thing and we had to do this, right?
Well, well, I guess this is going to change as well. As you say, you're saying that the world changes in the sense that more and more people understand that they might and do need some assistance, some guidance, some help, in the sense that they would go and see a psychologist or an RTT therapist, right? So it means that one by one person at a time, right? We're helping people to see that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay because we're still ourselves, and we're still the members of the human race, as you put it so well. And we're all of it.
Yeah.
We can be perfect and not perfect at the same time. I mean, if everybody would be was perfect, what would it be like? I mean, it would be absolutely boring, right?
Exactly. And you know, there's this term, fail forward. The failures, the mistakes, this is, you know, what pushes our farther, not, you know, when we're so exactly perfect and right, and, you know, from A to B. This is boring. This doesn't make us grow.
Especially, I once wrote, I think after Tony Robbins' book I read, I wrote to myself a note which said, fail forward fast.
Exactly.
Even the third F, fast, meaning go on. If you failed, go on, do another failure, fail again, just fail forward, because each failure brings you forward, because you see what it was. If you see it as a failure, then it's your chance. And I put it for myself that everything I label as a failure, that's my chance for evolution. So that's my chance to go on, go forward.
Absolutely. And, you know, and it just made me think of all of those people, me included, who changed their pathway, like in their careers, for example, and how so many people perceive it as a failure, which, you know, well, what kind of a failure is this? This is, you know,
exactly. The first one didn't work out.
Exactly. You had to try to know that it's not for you. And so once you've tried it, then you can, you know, start something different. A failure, in my opinion, would be staying in the place that makes you feel miserable and never try anything else.
Yeah,
That would be a failure,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yes. And those who don't try, they don't evolve. They don't they don't grow, basically. So they basically stay, and they understand that that's not for them, but that then they just let life happen.
Yeah.
And don't take it by the hand, by, I don't know the word in English, when you take, what do you
Pulled by the
take at
horse.
the horse? Horns, yeah, okay.
The
Or at the
bull.
horse, the strings of the horse, probably strings. But the horns sounds better.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
but this is I'm now just thinking that probably like 5 years ago, if I just started listening to us saying, yeah, we have to try, we have to fail, we have to, like, be courageous and make mistakes, and I would just think, yeah, they must be coaches.
Yeah, well, we are
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
sense, right?
yeah,
So,
we
well,
are.
but there is this is also something which everybody has to come to on their own pace. This is
Yeah,
nothing you can just tell somebody
exactly.
and they will do it just because you told them, right? Everybody has to um, get there at their own speed, and that's absolutely perfect, right? Everybody does their thing, also because we are all everything.
That's my point, that there's plenty of people, and I was one of them, who just don't feel like it's safe for them to move forward in any direction, and because of that they perceive messages like the ones that we are now sharing very threatening and
Yeah.
difficult, and so there's a lot of resistance towards that, and that's okay as well. All I want to say is that not everybody has to take chances and fail forward. It's not mandatory. But if somebody feels like this is their moment to try something else, or maybe they don't feel comfortable where they are, or just like we were talking, maybe they feel like there's something more out there and they have no idea how to get there, then it's a great idea to maybe hook up with one of us and have a
Your last
conversation about it.
sentence. Your last sentence, I couldn't understand it because because the connection wasn't good. Could you repeat
Okay,
it, please?
yeah, I said that, if you feel, if somebody watching feels that maybe, they're not comfortable where they are and they could use some help, then it's a good idea to contact any one of us.
Ah, yes, that's perfect. And it's also very, very well put, and a perfect place to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Anna, for being my guest today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. We can do
Thank
it
you.
more often, Eric.
We can do, absolutely, we can. So have a great evening. It's
You
evening in
too.
Poland, right? And
Yes.
everybody watching, have a great day and time of your day or
Thank
night.
you so much. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. And well, we'll see you.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.